Hello and welcome to another video. Got some exciting action to report on today. Today I'll be going over a few games from a tournament I was able to find the time to do recently. This is one of the Turin tournaments. Turin is a fellow YouTuber for Total War, the GOAT of the YouTubers. And this was a single faction tournament he was hosting. That is a faction where you pick a tournament where you pick one faction, you play it throughout. This was the second round, and this is myself bringing Skaven. If you've seen my previous videos on Skaven weapons teams, I'm trying to introduce some new tactics into the meta for the rats. And I was up against SAG, trademarked, under playing the vampire counts. So let's go over the armies. For myself, I have the classic master assassin, with his stealth and his looming dread ability for sniping lords, a Eshin sorcerer with Veil of Shadows and Warp Stars to do some damage, and then I have a Plague Caster, and for my weapons teams I have a Warp Lightning Cannon to shoot some shots downtown, and a Plague Claw Catapult. My opponent is bringing up with Helman Gorst as their lord on foot, it looks like, so the Necromancer himself. Not sure about the lore behind this guy, but as a Necromancer, I would assume he's evil. I don't think you can really be a good character and be a Necromancer, but he'll be bringing a few items. It looks like Liber Noctis to do some damage, Invocation that will heal characters, a damage buff, and Winds of Death, a terrifying damage wind spell ability. And then looks like double Vargulf is going to be kind of the anchor of the starting army. These are really tough monstrous characters. They can run around, goon things, and they heal in combat. If we can look there, yes, the hunger allows them to heal in combat, so they will be very scary to deal with. On my side, I'm only going to have the one Brood Horror to deal with those Vargulfs, so the two of them will be able to bully my monster out initially. So right off the bat, I see my opponent doesn't have much mass to counter my chariots, so I'm going to go in and get some early damage on the zombies. Look like some necromancy going down to drain magic out of this fellow necromancer here. We have a corpse card over here and a fire corpse card over there. Kind of interesting. Imbues units around it with fire damage. Catapult's going to start shooting. I've targeted onto some skeleton warriors, so hopefully we can get some good damage in there. Vargulf's chasing the chariots in the middle. The big, I don't know if you call them, they're kind of a gorilla and a bat at the same time, it seems. Not sure what you would classify that as. A little bit of werewolf vibes going on as well. Shot's doing okay, trying to fire the Warp Lightning Cannon onto the Vargulfs, and looks like my opponent is going for a nice play here. They are pulling in two Crypt Ghouls. These units have stock, so I have not seen them approaching, though I do see these bats. Looks like they're trying to get on top of the weapons team, so I'll have to summon out some counter for that. I get my Doomflayers into position because I know these infantry-sized bats are coming in. Catapult's getting nice damage into the skeleton warriors, and the Skaven slaves are going to be trying to hold back the tide of vampires. But the action initially is definitely going to be over here on the flank. My opponent diving in their fell bats onto my clan rats, trying to get some damage in. Looks like I shoot in my warp stars, but they all hit the ground, unfortunately. Definitely unfortunate there. My catapult looks to be crumbling down one unit of skeleton warriors over there. Excuse me, which is very nice. But I'll be sending in the Doomflayers now, who are going to do well into all these infantry units. Doomflayers are little chariots, so they therefore have a bonus versus infantry, and kind of their mass will run over those small units. The Dire Pack is infantry size, but they also are anti-large, so that could get some damage. In the background, I've summoned in some rattling guns and used Veil of Shadows to kind of peel off the bats from my guns. Sorry for a little lag happening there. So that will be able to protect the guns and let my wolf rats counter these fell bats here, which is very nice. Might have some issues with this Dire Pack coming in alongside, though. Catapult's getting nice shots into the zombies, but the tide of zombies approaches closer. My front line of Skaven slaves is routing on that flank, so a lot of pressure coming in. The Veil of Shadows drops, and the guns do start to take damage here from these the Dire Pack and fell bats, but I summon in a lot of rats, so I might be able to protect the guns guns there a little bit. Doomflayers are doing nice work here. Almost got these 2 Crypt Ghoul units down, but there is a lot of vampiric pressure coming down the middle. You can see my Plague Summon caster here getting bullied by the 2 giant monsters, getting kicked across, quite literally across the field there. A unit of zombies, a Graveguard being summoned. That's one of the unique abilities of Helmengorst, is he can summon elite Graveguard infantry, which are going to be very scary here. These elite warriors of the vampire accounts breaking into my lines, and I don't really have any elite infantry to deal with that. The catapult is doing nice work to clear out the chaff, but it's taking a long time, and I am steadily losing ground back here. I have been able to keep my guns active so far. Over here, the Teeth Breakers, the ROR Rattling guns, have rallied, which is nice. I could use them right now to get some direct damage in. These Doom Flayers have been moving around in a pack, getting very solid damage into the various zombie units. Here in the middle, the fight's going okay. These Graveguard are getting swarmed by a lot of targets. You can see little ninja stars going from my master says. That's going to be a nasty wind of death, though, from Helmengorst. That takes out 1, 2... maybe 3. Oh, that is a amazing wind of death. Really nice cast there from my opponent, and that is actually going to break open my rear defense, and that is going to be pretty devastating. This Graveguard unit is a summon, so I do pull my crew off of the catapult and run away, because this summon will disappear over time, so I can outlast them and come back to the guns. I do have a gold damage value lead, but the vampire counts have a lot of healing, so that might not be last too long for myself. Over here, the Black Coach, a chariot that is very scary into infantry, pops out, but I do get my second unit of Rattling guns out here to do some counter, and I'm going to be trying to chase that thing down. Doomflayers, again, just have not really had anything to stop them yet and are doing lots of work, but there's a lot of zombies to clear out. Here in the middle, my Brood Whore is fighting the Vargulf. It's Poison and Weeping Blade alongside the Master Assassin, so we'll see how that duel plays out. One Vargulf is getting very low, but my Brood Whore is taking some damage. The Rattling guns, though, open up onto the Vargulf, and this support is really what I need in this fight. This is going to do a lot of damage, especially with their accuracy. It looks like one Vargulf is going to take a little permanent nap there. Maybe he'll be summoned again by Helmengorst. I don't know how necromancy works, but this is very scary over here for me. Varix Reavers, the elite cav of the vampire accounts, have been summoned in on the flank, and they'll be looking to get into my backline, and if they do, that will be pretty bad for me, and the Rattling guns are having some line of sight issues here with the hill, unfortunately trying to move into combat. I do pop Veil of Shadows just to protect them prematurely, and then I'm going to start getting shots into that cavalry, who have gotten caught on this unit of Skaven slaves, which is really nice. My other unit of guns rallying from retreating and shooting in, doing some damage, but not quite as much as I would like. I need a lot more if I'm going to shut these guys down. Over on this flank, we have a unit of skeletons coming out from somewhere to do some damage. In the middle, my Brood Whore is getting bullied, unfortunately, by this Vargulf. That could be bad for me. Once this guy goes down, there's going to be nothing from stopping that Vargulf from running around and doing a lot of damage. Catapult getting some shots in, some nice shots into the zombies. Guns still slowing down Varix Reavers, which is very nice for me, but these guns, now Veil of Shadows is down. There is nothing to protect them if the Reavers decide to charge. Wolf Rat's coming in to get some damage, might be able to tie up those cavalry, but I am starting to fall behind on objectives. I am triple capped. My opponent owns objective 2, 1, and 3, so that means I'm quickly going to fall behind on points and be in a situation where I will need to triple cap my opponent in order to win. I have a solid damage value lead, but that might not matter if I can't get the points. This Vargulf is quite the problem. I'm throwing every character at it to try and duel it here. You can see my little rats on the ground getting bumped around, and the Doomflayers are even involved. A resurgent tide of vampires coming through. Another unit of Graveguard, a summoned unit, so they will deteriorate, but more Black Knights coming in, lancing down the Rattling guns. No Veil of Shadows active to protect them. Other Rattling gun unit is firing in, but they will likely get charged as well. So that looks like this whole backline is going to get cleaned up by that cav unit, which is not good for me. Over here on the flank, looks like the corpse cart. I was trying to focus down my little master assassin, the rat, who could, but he's a little isolated, so he's going to try and get out of there. Brood horror still dueling, this Vargulf here with support of the Graveguard. That will be tough for me to clear out. Zombies tying up my rat ogres here. On this flank, a corpse cart trying to hold me in position. I do send up a unit to Night Runners to try getting some capture weight back. I desperately need to capture the points very quickly, but these cavalry are really proving a menace. Here they are in my backline, charging onto my guns, using Veil of Shadows to keep them away. That will give me some time on this gun unit for sure. Warp Lightning Cannon even seemed to shoot a point-blank shot there, which was pretty cool. Right here, Clan Rat Spears coming in, but they're not going to do a lot of damage quickly, taking friendly fire from myself, but that might give me a chance at saving this gun. Nope, friendly fire is going to rout my own units. Pretty devastating turn of events there. That's going to cause the Black Knights to finally get on top of the cannon and shut it down. That was a pretty okay Veil of Shadows. I just needed more of a counter to clean up these knights. Really didn't have anything in place. Could have kept a unit of rat ogres back here. I think that would have been smart. So now the cannon's likely going to get shut down, and these cavalry are going to run away from these Eshin triads that were in place. Looks like my brood horror is close to routing off, but it does rally and it heals, so it might be back. Over here in the middle, we are fighting against the Black Knights, who do have their armor lowered from my Master Assassins. The Rat Ogres and Clan Rats might be able to clean that situation up. I have gotten Objective 2 back, which is really nice. Looks like my opponent set up some Crypt Ghouls, which will counter my units there nicely. The rats are resurgent, and we push to take Objective 1. You can see the horde of filthy rats pushing away the zombie tide. You would think rats and zombies might get along, you know, graveyards and corpses for the rats to chew on, but I suppose that might be a little problematic for the zombies if they're being chewed on by rats. So there must be some type of rat protection in a necromancer graveyards. Who knows? Shots going down into the cavalry are still causing me a lot of issues. I really need something that's able to tie these guys up and shut them down, but I've not been able to do so. My Doom Flayers, on the other hand, are causing similar problems for my opponent, running over the ROR Dire pack here and various zombies. I do have Objective 1. I have a double cap now, which is really great, but I am in a situation where I need to capture all 3 points in order to win the game. I have some units over here that have rallied. It looks like, unfortunately, I have forgotten about them. These Wolf Rats would add really nice capture weight. Here in the middle, my opponent has a very scary Death Star. The Vargulf is still active. Helmengor is still running around, and it looks like Black Knights are still charging about. So I need to get something that can shut them down. Over here on the flank, looks like a corpse cart is fighting against my catapult. You can see the necromancer there whipping. This thing doesn't really do any damage, but it is tying up my catapult, preventing it from shooting, which is pretty funny. Nice play by my opponent. Looks like I'm getting some shots with the rattling guns on top of that. But Objective 2 is in a lot of danger here. Crypt Ghouls are great anti-infantry units, and all I have here at the moment are infantry. My Master Assassin is also in a lot of danger. You could see the big vampire gorilla crashing his way through to try and get the kill there. Or Objective 1 I am holding just by the nature of my Doom Flayers being a nice counter to everything. But I have a lot of units tied up here that I need to get moving and try to get on Objective 3 as I am running out of time. And I am losing Objective 2, so reinforcements are desperately needed. This corpse cart getting worn down by that unit of rattling guns. This Warp Lightning Cannon shooting point blank into it, it looks like. Could use a different target. Looks like some shots did go onto the Vargulf, who is bullying my Master Assassin, which is not good for me. Skaven have very low leadership, so if this guy gets taken out, that could be the end. Over here we have a wizard duel, the nerd duel, as I believe I've heard Turin say on his channel. My Eshin Sorcerer versus Helmengorst. These guys are battling out with sticks rather than magic. I think it's going to take too long for either side to win that fight. I am able to hold Objective 2 for a little longer. Warp Lightning shots doing nice damage into the Vargulf as my Master Assassin tries to run away. Still holding objective 1. Rat Ogres and Doom Flayers doing a nice job, but my opponent summons in more of the dreaded cavalry. These Black Knights running about. My Eshin's Triads, I do halt them and should be able to get the brace off, which will cancel out the charge bonus from this Black Knight, so that will be really nice. But the Black Coach has been resummoned, and it gets a flanking charge just after my unit was contacted. So you can see that Black Knight charge, Black Coach charge did about half health to this Eshin Triad unit, which probably would have otherwise won that fight. Oh, look, caught a little in the building there. So the pretty amazing timing there by my opponent. Black Coach going to rout that unit. It does cause terror, so pretty clutch charge. Rattling guns have moved up and are getting shots. Looks like they're not targeting anything, just shooting Crypt Ghouls. My opponent does get a unit of Crypt Ghouls back here to tie up my guns. I have my resummoned Teeth Breakers shooting down the flank at point blank Warp Lightning shots. Not sure those are going to do anything, but this is tying up a lot of my high damage output here, so that is going to be pretty annoying for me. Objective 1 looks comfy. Objective 2 is in danger. I will be able to summon in some reinforcements, likely to hold that. My Master Assassin did rally over here on the flank, so that's very good for me. Objective 3, though, which I need to capture, I only have 40 seconds to do so at this point, is not looking good. My opponent has a Black Coach here, a terror routing unit that does a lot of damage. It's got a little bit of its intensity buffs going. That happens from units dying around it. It gets more damage. Damage resistance and cool buffs like that. Very thematic. But there's a lot of scary vampires, multiple knight units. They're lancing over my wolf rats, a scary Vargulf. I do not think I'm going to be able to take this objective. I throw everyone and the kitchen sink at the objective, but with only 10 seconds left, that is going to be game. Given another 10 minutes, I probably would be able to take this objective, but that's the nature of domination, is you need to play those objectives. So that is going to be the end for me on this game. It was a fun one. It was fun playing with my opponent. They were a very good sport about everything. And let's check out the damage values. So for my opponent, 428 kills from Helmet Course. That must be from those Winds of Death. You can see it wasn't a lot of damage dealt as gold value, so not a lot of high quality kills, but cleared out a lot of chaff. One of the Vargulfs did amazing, got a lot of damage in. The other one, I think, was the one that was shot by the Rattling guns. On my side, not a ton of damage from the heroes. Excuse me. Brood Horde did nicely. I think I could have used another one of these to duel the double Vargulf. Doom Flayers did amazing, and the cannons and catapults did actually pretty okay. I thought they had done worse, but they did pretty solid value throughout. My infantry did okay. The Rattling guns, one did amazing, one got shut down, which is to be expected. Rat Ogres did okay, and Triads did somewhat mixed. For my opponent, the cavalry were pretty devastating. They shut down a lot of my guns, tied me up for a long time, and I did not have any effective counters for them throughout the game. Crypt Ghouls were nice flanking in. So here we are in the army creation screen, and here is my new build for going against the vampire counts, just to go over some of the changes. So for starters, I removed the Sacred Banner of the Horned Rat, the leadership debuffing ability for the Master Assassin. This was just to save on some cost to spend on other things, and this guy really didn't want to be in the front line. He had a pretty rough time of it, so I think keeping him back and just using Looming Dread and sneaking around might be the better option. I removed my Plague Caster. The summons I didn't find too beneficial. They did help tie things up, but Doom Flayers running around were doing a great job of that anyway. And I needed to take a more expensive Winds of Magic spell, Brittle Bone, so I don't think I would have the extra Winds of Magic to have the Plague Caster. And the Plague Caster was getting a little bullied in melee. So Brittle Bones is going to be my counter to the cavalry that were running amok all over my backlines. This ability adds a speed debuff and a massive melee defense debuff alongside a vigor debuff. So what this will do is when those cavalry are marauding into my backlines, I can pop this on them. So it'll be minus 25 speed, which say might get combined with the poison of a wolf rat, which adds more speed debuffing and things like that. So they will be slow and easier to catch. And then the minus 40 melee defense is a huge melee debuff. I mean, if we look at really any unit, 24 Elite Cav usually have something in the 30s for melee defense, so they'll have 0 melee defense. Something like a Wolf Rat popping out will be able to do a lot of DPS onto those knights, combined with some Rat Ogres, which I've added more of to tie them up, or even a Doomflayer, really, even though they're not meant to take out cavalry, will tie them up and do a lot of damage to those cavalry, and hopefully let me chew them up a little quicker. Same front line, basically. I've added a second Brood Horror. I really liked the performance of the one I had, but the double Vargulf potential from the vampire counts was pretty scary, so I think having 2 of these to deal with Vargulfs, or if Crypt Horrors came in, and just to help with the Knight spam, I think would be really nice. Knights are growing more and more common for the vampire counts. They've gotten buffs in recent patches, so I think all around having 2 of these guys would be really nice. I've removed my Warp Lightning Cannon. It did okay, but those anti-large cannon shots into single entities like the Vargulfs did damage, but the Vargulfs were just healing through it, so it's like, what did that value really gain me? The catapult did great and applied great pressure on my opponent, made them come to me. The damage alongside the leadership debuff does really well into infantry. Once vampire undead units get low in leadership, they start to crumble, which they dissipate with. So I think that will do really well paired with another change I've added, which is 2 Warp Fire Throwers. These guys do magic fire damage and apply their own leadership debuff, the burnt leadership debuff, and a lot of light armor missile strength. So these will be really good into zombies. The fire damage is relevant into any healing units for the vampire accounts. So you combine those leadership debuffs, these guys can be on the front line, melting zombies, falling back as needed, just kind of clearing out that chaff a little quicker. And they're only 550 gold, so I don't care too much if something takes them out. I can just summon a new one in. In reserves, I've added in a unit of Storm Vermin Halberds. These guys would still be really exposed to something like Winds of Death, which would do a ton of damage to them and give a lot of value to my opponent. But I can save these guys to summon in late in the game, say that situation where I needed to take that final objective and there was a lot of large knights and entities running around. These guys would be really great just to throw on there and kind of deter my opponent from just running over my units like those Eshin Triads did. I liked the performance of the Rattling Guns. I could have done a little better to protect them, and I think having not having the cannon to protect and maybe being a little more cautious, it turned out line of sight was a pretty big issue for shooting. That one hill more or less killed one of my Rattling Gun units, so just keeping that more in mind in the future, I think these guys will do a little better. I like having the Wolf Rats. They're a great response to things like the Bats or the Dire Pack or Vargeist, the flying giant creatures that my opponent didn't bring but might be able to. Rat Ogres, really key. I think they will be really key for shutting down the knights. I think in the future I would need to just have them on standby near my gun units, kind of waiting for those knights to show up. And of course the Doomflayers did really well. I have 150 gold here too, so let's throw in a Skaven Slave. So this is what I think my changes would be. I'll have to get another game in here against a vampire player in the near future to see how this goes. So let's jump on into another game from that tournament. So this was the round 5 game from the tournament I was playing in. This was myself versus Romeo J23 playing as the Ogre Kingdom. So this is a matchup I had a little practice in, so I think the build was tuned nicely for what was coming. So for myself, the Master Assassin once again. I think in the Skaven lore, these guys, they work for Clan Eshin, and they have like various contracts from not just Skaven, but anyone in the realm for like assassinating someone. Oh, that's an interesting animation in the background. Some type of, looks to be blood pouring down. Very interesting. So maybe this assassin had a contract out for this Ogre Kingdom's Lord or something like that. The Ogre Kingdoms themselves, they mostly just want to eat and get loot. So here the Ogre Tyrant is maybe out for some loot. Look, he brought snacks, a very fun ability, and melee heals himself himself. Very nice. An explosion. The ogres are going to be bringing looks like a rush of ogre bulls coming in with a fire belly caster in the background. I went for a double warp lightning cannon. That was kind of the little change up in this one. Didn't want the catapult. These warp lightning cannons will do really nice work into ogre bull units. And you can see the two cannons already are lighting up this ogre bull unit as it takes fire coming in, taking a lot of damage. Going to cast a warp stars on top of him, it looks like. Do a little poke damage as well. So that's one unit basically in the trash can. Moving up my summons caster to pop out some clan rats to hold things up here. Trying to get a capture on the middle with my two stealth heroes, but my opponent does move in with the saber tusks. Over on the flank they have the Eshin Man-Eater. This guy is a little stealthy ogre who is a part of the same clan as my master assassin, actually, so a little internal battle there. Over here, clan rats summoned out from the deeps are going to be blocking up the ogres, which is going to be really nice. This is a summon unit, so essentially a free unit tying up and slowing my opponent, just allowing more time to get more cannon shots in. My opponent is diving in, starting to get closer, one layer of rats at a time. Ogres like to peel onions, I guess. Not quite the Shrek reference I wanted, but close enough. Over here, ogres diving in with the ogre bulls, but my brood horror and my Skaven slaves should be able to do some damage. I summoned in some rat ogres to finish off this saber tusk pack. I see an opportunity here, an opening for the Doom Flayers to run over some Noblars, which is going to be really nice for me. Get a nice pick there. My opponent pushing in further with the ogre bulls, but I'm holding them up for the moment. Looks like he is going to try and force path them through onto my cannons. Not a bad idea, as well as throwing some pebbles onto the cannons. So I'm going to either have to cast a Veil of Shadows or pull back here to deal with these guys. Maybe summon something in. Weeping Blades going down. Pull out a unit of Triads, looks like was my counter. These guys will do nicely into the Ogre Bulls, and I'm going to run the cannon crew through a unit of Rat Ogres to finish off this unit of Ogre Bulls. In the middle, my opponent has sent in their Lord, and I do pop Looming Dread, and I'm going to get the Brood Horror and all my heroes and characters on top of this Tyrant. Might be able to get some serious damage in here. If I can get an early pick on his Lord, he does pop the Explosion ability, which does half health to this unit of Clan Rat Spears. That's pretty crazy. I've never seen anyone use that. That's a nice little tech. Warp Lightning Cannons are melting these Lead Belchers. Lead Belchers are a very scary unit, so to get them shut down like that is really nice. Sitting in a unit of Mournfang Cavalry here, my opponent gonna do really nicely into the Rat Ogres, probably bully them pretty well. Burning Head will finish off those Clan Rat Spears most likely. I am getting a lot of damage into his Lord here, the Fire Belly Caster dueling my Wizard. He's a good fighter, that Fire Belly, the belly slam, sending the rat spinning across the ground is quite nice. In the backfield, my opponent looks like their Noblars have been tied up on my infantry, so this is a pretty okay situation for me, just to leave them there. Eshin Man-Eater is coming in from the flank to help the hero fight. The unit of Rat Ogres is holding up the Mournfang Cavalry. Well, you can see I have my laser beams targeted onto them, which is going to do some nice damage when I get some hits in. Brood Horror is taking quite some damage, and I really am actually starting to lose this hero fight in the middle, so like rats do when the going gets tough, I'm going to just run away and try, and I know I have the positional advantage with my cannons trading, so as long as I can just keep getting shots off with them. Over here, pulling back from the Slinger Fire, I was taking a lot of pebbles, so trying to salvage those guns if I can, but one unit is shooting happily still into the Mournfang Cavalry, applying pressure. Burning Head going to do a little bit of damage, but just on some Clan Rats and Eshin Triads, so not bad actually from my opponent. Slow went down on this Eshin Sorcerer, but he was able to get away, and I'm just going to get a terror route here on this Ogre Bulls with my Brood Horror if possible. In the background, Wolf Rats are running away from a terrifying amount of Ogres. My opponent has had the objective advantage, but I'm starting to get some pushback. I did pull my Doom Flayers through this line of Gnoblars over here because there was no ogre mass to protect them, and so got a really nice cleanup in that section. So now that mass of Skaven slaves and clan rats are going to be pushing forward onto the objective to get some work done. Over here, more cavalry coming out for my opponent and more ogre bulls. I'm getting some nice chaff to tie them up, and I'm going to turn the cannons, which are now fully online. Death Star is fully operational once again. Looks like throwing some ninja stars into the tyrant, getting some nice damage. He is healing in combat, but he is getting worn down. Rat ogres don't know where they're going. Looks like they're chasing some unit off in the distance. Maybe an accidental click there. The action is in this section at the moment. Mornfang cavalry taking damage from the cannons targeted on them. Brood Horror as well doing some nice damage. And the Contaminated debuff coming in very clutch from the Plague Caster here. Of course, has that ability in his melee stats. If we can, yeah, right there. Doing really nice damage. Getting a terror out. But looks like they rallied, but I do take Objective 3 back. I do have a rallying unit I sent on Objective 1 over here, but my opponent does summon out Gorgers. I think these units have stock, these Gorgers. Yeah, they do have stock, so yeah, I did see them from the clan rat, so I know they're there, but they will be able to hold that objective for my opponent. Enemy units being routed off. A nice burning head looks like going to be going down. I do not get the juke off there, so that's going to get a unit of clan rats, 2 units of clan rats with that. A unit of rat ogres will do fine for the moment, but likely going to get bullied off by my opponent. The Brood Horror, which has been healing, you can see its healing cap, that little tick there in the health, has been recovering. Burning Head did some extra damage on the Triheads. I'm peeling over from Objective 3. I have this nicely secured, leaving you and a Clan Rat Spears to deal with whatever comes at me. Warp Lightning Cannons are still functional, I believe, back here. Yep, still got 6 cannons firing off into my opponent. And they did send the Eshin Maneater back here to try and shut down the cannon, and actually it did some damage into the Warp Lightning, the Rattling Guns that I summoned out. So a lot of distraction going on there, but I was able to send some units in to tie it up. So now these Night Runners are going to be coming forward with Rattling Guns. That's going to be really good to support my position here. In the middle, we are dueling the Tyrant. We have Looming Dread down on him, and he's poisoned, so he is really debuffed in his stats right now. You can see melee defense is very low. Plague Priest is a little idle, should get on top of that Tyrant, but the Tyrant is getting bullied right now by the Brood Horror over here. Burning Head going to go down, but my units are already routing. Firebelly actually putting a whipping on my Master Assassin, so once again, going to have to run away. Night Runners coming in are getting some solid damage in onto my opponent's units here, and the Rattling Guns are now active, and with this flat open map, it is amazing for shooting and Rattling Guns. I'm going to be able to hold the field really well. Solid position on Objective 3. I do have a big gold damage value lead. Ogres do have some healing baked into their units and into their army abilities, so the lead might not be totally complete. Brood Horror looked like he routed, but now has come back, so now he's going to chase down the naked mole rat. Sees his prize and is coming for the kill. Very disgusting looking animal there. So he'll probably be able to finish off the Tyrant, and when you kill your enemy, your opponent's lord, it applies a debuff to their whole army, so that's going to be really big. Over here, Rattling Guns teeing off on the Gorgers. They did beat my unit of Rat Ogres, and Gorgers do heal, so that's going to be nice for them. I do see a lot of units coming back, though, so I'm going to do Smoke Bombs and try and pull back. Oh, no, looks like I changed my mind to tee off on the Ogre Bulls with dual weapons. So they are going to get shattered and routed off, but my opponent is going to get the Gorgers on top of these. Rattling Guns most likely, so I'm going to need to get some support in to protect them. Over here, my opponent found their rallying unit of Slingers and used them to dust off one of my cannons, so that is a bit unfortunate. I do have quite the advantage in position at the moment, but Ogres, with their speed, are able to capture objectives really quickly, so I don't feel totally secure yet, especially with a unit like Gorgers in my backfield, dusting up my missile units. Over here, this unit of Slingers is onto my next cannon. I don't think I've caught on to this yet. I'm chasing off the Maneater with a unit of Wolf Rats, so maybe I'll find those Slingers Flingers soon. Here in the middle, a unit of Ogre Bulls is going to get dragged down by all these rats. Just too many Rat Ogres, Eshin Triads, and counter units to these Ogre Bulls, surrounding them and bullying them. Here in the backfield, my opponent had some artillery. Back here, there is a Noblar Scrap Launcher, but I pushed into their backfield to try and shut that down. They do have another unit of Lead Belchers out who will do some nasty damage unless I'm able to get some to deal with that. Looks like my cannon was moving up to shoot at those Lead Belchers and kind of by accident dodging these Noblar Flingers, but I do finally see that and summon in a unit of Skaven Slaves, which will be able to finish them off. Over here on the flank, my Master Assassin and Plague Priest going to battle with these Gorgers. I'm not sure who's going to win that fight. I think I'll win just because the Gorgers are so low on health. Over here, Clan Rats chasing off my opponent's caster. Rat Ogres capturing objective 1. That triple cap will be really nice for me. I do summon in a unit of Storm Vermin. These are the elite of the Skaven under Empire. Heavily armored and very good leadership. But they are getting teed off on by the Lead Belchers, which I don't want, so I need to get into combat. But my Warp Lightning Cannons have been getting a lot of work in, and they do rout that unit of Lead Belchers, which is going to be really good for my elite infantry. So here in the middle, feeling pretty solid. Over on objective 3, my opponent is putting a lot of pressure on Ogre Bulls. Brood Horror still healing, almost to its full healing cap, getting a lot of damage in. And my rats are barely holding here. I'm going to need to summon in something to support. Might turn the cannon on. Yep, the one remaining cannon turning on over here to fire. But with the Skaven Slaves and Clan Rat Spears, I think I should be able to hold. We shall see. Objective 1 looks to be going to me, army ability from the Ogres going down. Some Ogre Bulls will be pretty threatening. I have a lot of low health units here, so I'm going to need some support. Looks like you get a Rat Ogres coming in. The Teeth Breakers are back. I have resummoned them in, and they are stocked with their smoke bombs at the moment, so those will be very devastating. In the middle, the Doom Flayers are still active, up to 336 kills, barely paying for themselves, but there's a lot of Noblars to chew through. But the center of my opponent's army is shattered now, those Noblars, so I will be able to get onto these Lead Belchers, most likely, which have been doing a lot of damage to my Storm Vermin, but they do have high leadership, so they should be able to hold. Warp Lightning Cannons have been doing good work on this flank. I have some Wolf Rats taking some damage back there. Not sure where my Brood Horror went. Looks like he ran away, but has returned. I think that's 2 routes for him. I think it's 5 routes until a unit shatters permanently. But with the Rat Ogres and Wolf Rats, I should be able to shut them down. Ninja Star's doing nice damage from the flank. Warp Lightning Cannon shooting point-blank shots into my opponent. Oh, there is the shatter for the Brood Horror. He is done for the day and going to run off. 1,700 value, though, really solid on him. He costs about 1,050. Over here on Objective 1, these Rat Ogres, combined with the remnants of those units, are going to be able to rout off those Ogre Bulls. There was no flying units from my opponent, no Blood Vultures, which I think might have been a mistake. I do have lots of counters in place with the Rattling Guns and Veil of Shadows. The bubble effect from that first game would have been nice to protect the point-blank cannon shots, doing nice work into these Ogre Bulls. But maybe this matchup is a little better than I thought. These Warp Lightning Cannons were doing insane work into my opponent. Rattling Guns are now fully on the field, fully operational. These are going to be able to clean up whatever heavy hitters my opponent brings on. Like these Mornfang Cavalry here are not going to want to get dusted by a couple of Rattling Guns. This open map is really conducive to shooting. I've been realizing. I think more open maps like this could lead to more to a better performance from the Skaven, but we'll see what tournament hosts are into. Wow, look at the damage coming in from the Teeth Breakers. Half health already on the Mornfang Cav, less than half health. Warp Lightning finally runs out of ammunition with its last shots. Next Rattling Gun unit going to open up, and those Mornfang Cav are going to go right back to where they came from, heading back out if they could make it, losing most of their models. And that is going to be the game. My opponent coming in for Objective 1, but it will be too little too late. So this was round 5 of the tournament. This was the last game. We were both 2-2 at this point. So finished off 3-2 in the tournament, which felt really nice for using the weapon teams and trying to make a new meta for the Skaven Brood Horror coming back out for its second life. The other two matches, other two wins were into Grand Cathay, which I feel like is a pretty solid matchup for Skaven. They do well into Armored Infantry. And the loss was to Kislev, my second loss. Kislev is a tough matchup I'll have to figure out. A lot of Unbreakable Cav proving to be a challenge for this play style. So let's take a look at the values. Warp Lightning Cannons did really well. They really put a lot of pressure on my opponent to make some plays, and my opponent did not have much to deal with these guys. Some Blood Vultures would have been nice, but then again, Warp Stars would have been a really big counter to them, so maybe not. Maybe that was a good choice in the end. 1,000 value from the Master Assassin, not bad. Brood Horror doing fantastic. A lot of kills and value for the Doom Flayer. That one Doom Flayer doing a lot of work. Besides that, Rattling Guns did solid. Rat Ogres doing very nicely alongside the Wolf Rats for my opponent. Heroes did okay. Lead Belchers really got shut down by the Warp Lightning Cannon. Eshin Maneater didn't have the best life either. And those heavy cavalry, I feel like, really did not perform well for my opponent. They got shut down quite a bit. Gorgers are interesting. Maybe some more of them coming around the flanks with their stock could have been the ticket. I think a big flank of Gorgers coming on to the guns would have been very difficult to deal with, given that Gorgers are unbreakable. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this was a enjoyable video, and I will catch you guys next time, hopefully with some more Skaven Weapons Team tournament action.